3D television has dominated the headlines at this year's IBC. Cinemas around the UK and the rest of the world are already showing 3D movies, and not since the 1950s have audiences taken to wearing 3D lenses en masse to feel the thrill of CGI objects trying to poke them in the face while they duck and cover. Broadcasters too are getting in on the act. British Sky Broadcasting recently announced that it will launch the UK's first 3D channel next year. The channel will offer a broad selection of 3D programming, which is expected to include movies, entertainment and sport. But a small contingent within the broadcast and content creation industry is beginning to take a step back and question the current technology and the claims that are being made about it. David Wood, Deputy Director General of the European Broadcasting Union, recently published a paper presented at this year's IBC, questioning some of the claims made about 3D movies.
Chris, you know I'm the world's biggest fan of 3D television, stereoscopic television, and I want it to happen. But I want it to happen at the same time as the public is cautioned, is warned that there are physiological issues associated with 3D television that we need to be careful about. Essentially, when you see a 3D television picture, you're asking your eye and your brain to do something which is quite unusual. And the fact is that there are people who can't do this separation processes that's needed to watch these pictures properly, and there are people who find it difficult. So what I'm arguing for is that every time a 3D television program is shown or some equipment is sold to the public, they are cautioned that they should be careful with this. And for example, that if they feel the slight discomfort, they should take the glasses off, and that perhaps they shouldn't watch the 3D television for too long a period, perhaps not watching it for longer than an hour without taking a break, taking the glasses off. But I'm very much pro 3D television and stereoscopic television, but I'm just equally in favour of telling the public the truth about this, that there is the real probability, no matter what you do technically, of eye strain for some people.
So do you think we require further medical research into this issue?
Yes, I think that there's a number of areas that we need to look at more deeply, and one of them is whether doing the separation process that you need when you're watching a 3D program is good for very young children. So this is one thing. Personally, I think it's all right, because I think as the more 3D you watch, the better you get at the separation process. But we do need to be sure before we start hours and hours of television broadcasting with this. Yes, we do. We do know the mechanisms of the eye strain. They're to do with physiology and so on, but how dramatic the effects are, what proportion of the public is affected by these are the things that we really need more work in, absolutely.
But today, the industry has to work on a way to make the current displays palatable for everyone who can perceive depth perception in the real world. In order to do this, the industry will have to ensure quality of the image on the TV screen. With 3D, there will be no room for compromise. However, no one has discovered a conclusive reason why these physical symptoms manifest in a small minority of binocular-capable subjects. One theory put forward is the unnatural eye movement stereoscopy burdens viewers with. In the real world, our eyes rotate in two ways to perceive depths. Our eyeballs move inward towards our nose the closer the object comes towards us, otherwise known as vergence. At the same time, to keep the subject in focus, we adjust the shape of the ocular lens, like a camera, otherwise known as accommodation. Therefore, when we watch a 3D movie, our eyeballs move inward as normal, but our lenses also want to change their shape to adjust for the plane of vision. But in reality, the object has not moved even an inch closer. If it did, the entire movie would become out of focus. These facts appear to be recognized by a number of suppliers of video content editing suites at IBC. Thus, the current auteurs of Handycam-style footage is likely to have to learn a new movie lexicon to ensure that their thrill rides are not vomit-inducing. While we expect there to be a great deal of 3D TV content in the near future, There are issues that need to be ironed out, and this debate is likely to rage on.